Good morning to the board and leadership of MTN Foundation, who have been very gracious enough to respond to the divine agenda of making the world a better place through the MTN Ghana Enterprise Support Program. Special thanks to Robert, to Cynthia, to Ebenezer, to Rodalyn, who were part of shaping this whole project. Thank you very much. And a special good morning to Mr. Kofi Ofosun-Kansan, CEO of NEIP. Good morning to all media personnel. And a special good morning to all entrepreneurs in this place. Today is all about you, so thank you for being here. Thank you. Let me share a story. About 17 years ago, that was in 2006, I had just left University of Ghana, Legon, did my national service at the same institution, and was thinking of where to work. And thankfully, whilst I was just about finishing national service, I got a job with MTN Ghana. So this is back home for me. And I had the opportunity to work with MTN for about 5 years till I had to resign to pursue further studies. I would also add that in 2017, a year after I joined MTN, I had the award of being the MTN of the Year for the Customer Care Division, and that was a major milestone in my career development. But then why do I share this? Working with MTN at that time was not just about me. It was a blessing to my entire family. I was the firstborn of 5, and being the firstborn in Ghana, we understand what it means. After university, the responsibility of the rest gradually begins to get shifted to you. So while I was earning a salary at MTN, I was earning for a family. Earning an income in MTN at that time was an opportunity to support my younger sibling. And so when you create an income opportunity for one young person in an emerging economy like Ghana and other African countries, you are not supporting one person, you are supporting families. And that is something we need to keep in mind as we talk about entrepreneurship and employability. Creating jobs for young people is about family support. Today I'm happy to be back in this place. Of course, we didn't have this building at that time. I used to be at I'm happy to be back in this huge, magnificent facility. I'm in the exciting position of a partnership between MTN and my company for this particular initiative. The MTN Ghana Enterprise Support Program will go down in history as one of Ghana's most impactful private sector-led initiatives that would unlock access to finance for micro and small businesses in a sustainable manner and at scale. I would want to emphasize that as much as we start with 100 entrepreneurs, it's going to be 100 of these businesses every year for 5 years. So in 5 years, we're talking about 500 businesses to be supported. Can you just for a minute imagine each one of these 500 businesses creating 5 jobs? And each person in these 5 jobs is supporting a family of 5. Plus an extended family, an uncle, an auntie whose child will be going to senior high school and will call them and say, can you buy me Nido and Sheto? The impact is spiral. It's not just that 500 businesses we are supporting, but that related chain of impact we're looking at. Permit me to share some quick thoughts on the concept of building resilient communities through entrepreneurship and job creation. And resilient communities has been one of the buzzwords in the current world. Some of the pillars of a resilient community are social resilience, environmental resilience, and economic resilience. I believe sincerely, and I argue that when we create opportunity for small businesses to do well, to scale, to survive, to create jobs beyond the early founder, what happens is that they are creating wealth, they are creating means of income for these young people, and we are creating pathways for both social resilience and environmental resilience for communities. So businesses become the pathway, and I dare say the only pathway for sustainable development. Governments can do their bit, and they can come up with policies and everything, but that is not sustainable and workable without the force of business that backs these policies. So creating opportunities for young people is the way to go for us as a country if we want to talk about the development we want to see. But how do you do that without access to finance? Over the years, since 2015, we've been supporting businesses over time. And we have seen that no matter the kind of support you give them, until you put money in the pot, they become over-empowered and under-invested. And the empowerment really begins to frustrate them because they have all kinds of training, all kinds of support programs, and they ask, what next? I have done my strategy, how do I leave it? And so this particular program, the uniqueness of the MTN Ghana Enterprise Support Program is that it is giving a financial lifeline to these 500 businesses over the 5 years. But it is not just to them. The key thing about the program again is that the money, it's going back, so it gets to the business and gets paid back, so it's a revolving facility. So beyond these 500 businesses who could even get more, over the 5 years, there could be more businesses who will benefit as the money gets paid back into this revolving pot. And that is what we call sustainable ways to business support. It's a good place to clap for MTN for that. Please. Robert mentioned an amount as money committed. What he didn't add was that amount was just for year one. Yeah. He mentioned a figure of a little over 1 point something million. It's just for the first year. Yes, and we have the commitment. Oh, please, let's pray. If you are a startup and you want this to go ahead, you really want to clap. In fact, you want to stand and clap for it for Robert and team for really doing that. And when we designed the program, they got back and said, but then, you've not thought about inflation. In the second year, this money we are going to give to businesses will become nothing if inflation hits in. So they again gave a commitment to say, in the second year, we are going to adjust the budget to factor for inflation. So if in year one, a business got 10,000, it is possible that in year two, it may be 15,000 per business as cash. And if you work in the space some of us work in, where there are so many so-called empowerment programs for businesses that don't give them actual cash to live the values, you would appreciate what these kinds of fundings could mean. On our part as implementing partner on the ground, we would commit to what we call flawless execution. How do we give value for money to MTN and to the startups who are going to be supported across the country? Like MTN everywhere you go, but we're starting in phases. In phase one will not be every part of the country. We're taking them region by region, and then we'll see how we cover the whole country through this program. And we want to, as it were, count real winners over the next 5 years. Not just how many businesses receive support and funding, but how many have scaled, how many have created new jobs, and how many have doubled their revenues as a business. In conclusion, the hunger out there is bigger than what one MTN can do. How many MTNs in Ghana, how many corporate bodies would want to rise up and say, MTN has shown the way that it can be done, and we want to join the train to build sustainable businesses towards building a resilient Ghana. The Ghana we want is possible if we all put our hands to that. Let's make it happen. MTN again, thank you for the support. Thank you everyone.